the Transit Riders Advisory Committee. Good afternoon and welcome to our November 2025 meeting. And thank you to all of you for participating on Zoom today. First, PSTA has developed several methods for ensuring the availability to the public to comment prior to or during the virtual meetings. It has been established with these options. Okay. During the meeting, the public can provide public comment via telephone by calling 1-305-224-1968. The meeting ID, webinar ID 842-1353-3271. Individuals will be able to speak for up to 3 minutes during the public comment period. Again, to make a public comment today during the meeting, members of the public should call 1-305-224-1968, meeting ID, webinar ID 842-1353-3271. The second option allows the public to submit written comments prior to the meeting by mail to PSTA at 3201 Shearer Drive, St. Petersburg, Florida, 33716. And the third option allows the public to submit comments via email before the meeting at publiccomments@psta.net. Bob, do you know if we have any people calling in, or if we've gotten any written or email comments?
No comments.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Okay, now for the record, I'd like to confirm that you all can speak and hear each other, so I'm going to do a roll call. Starting with Jay James.
I'm here.
Thank you. Elizabeth Olden.
Present.
Thank you. Kim Rankin.
I'm here.
Thank you. Maxwell Johnson.
Here.
Yeah. Oh, here. Okay, very good. Thank you. Mark Boyce.
Here.
Thank you. Peter Ray. No. Richard Powell.
Here.
Thank you. Richard McDaniel.
Here.
Thank you. Conrad Longenheim.
Presently attending.
Thank you. Roman Sherbalko.
Present.
Thank you. And Stuart Westerman. Okay, so are there any members attending whose names I did not call? Okay, and then also as a reminder, please remember to respond to the track quorum notices within 48 hours of the emails when they're sent to you all. Okay. All right, good afternoon, track members. I will briefly mention the topics covered at the October board meeting. This meeting was rather short as the board really only had one action item, and that was the CEO evaluation, where Brad Miller received an impressive score of 95.2 out of 100 for his annual review.
All right.
Yeah, that's excellent. The board also recognized the PSTA employees who had recently graduated from the agency's Demanding Leadership PSTA program. That program is designed to develop future leaders from within the current staff. And I know you all have met a number of the people or worked with a number of the people in that program. It's a very great program. You can see recordings of the PSTA board meetings by scrolling down to the meetings page at the bottom of the PSTA homepage. And again, I advise that, if you have some extra minutes, it's worthwhile seeing how those meetings go and see what the board is asking for. So, okay, well, thank you then. Now we will move on to the Forward Pinellas report, and I will turn to Elizabeth.
Hey, first thing is the change of time. It's going to be 6 to 8. It's no longer 7 to 9, which is going to make it more attractive to anybody that wants to sign up. The next thing is they're just as confused as we were last month by taking away the lanes in South Pasadena. Well, that was Representative Janet Long insisted that the lanes, the rapid
Linda Cheney.
Linda Cheney,
Janie, yeah.
thank you, took away those lanes. So DeSantis agreed and it's taken away. They're just as confused. Does the data say they're bad for traffic or better for traffic? More accidents or less accidents? They were bantering back and forth, trying to figure out the statistics. So they're just as confused as we were. And the next thing is they were discussing at the end of the meeting, shelters. Is there more shelter? I know that we're putting shelters where they're most needed. I know that already. And I also know that it's expensive to put more shelters in, but they're wondering why there aren't more shelters in more strategic places. And I don't know where to look for that answer. So if anybody can find that answer, Maria Kelly would appreciate it, that she could share that with the CAC.
Does
I'll
the-
reach out to her.
Yeah, do they
Yeah.
want to have somebody from PSTA come in and talk about that?
Yes, yes. Yes. That's one of their subjects. They're gonna take it up again.
Thank you.
So they would appreciate that. And that's it. Other than that, as far as buses are going, they're just all excited about the changes that have been made. We're all living the changes. We're all in this together. So
Thank you.
and that's the end of it.
Well, good. Well, that's a good lead into what we have today in our on our agenda is just the information item. The presentation today is an update on the Connected Community Bus Network from Planning Manager Jacob Labutka. And as you all know, the CCBN went into effect about 2 weeks ago on October 26th. And Jacob and Amanda Baird is also going to talk with us about giving us an update on that implementation and the current state of the operations.
Great. Thank you, Gloria. And good afternoon, everybody. Again, I'm Jacob Labutka, Planning Manager here at PSTA. So myself and Amanda, we're going to walk you through what's the latest and greatest with the Connected Community Bus Network now that we've launched as of October 26th, our largest system change in our 40-year history. We've compiled information on just at high level, some initial thoughts we've heard from riders. We have some very initial ridership data that we'll share with you on some of the new top routes, for example. And then we'll also talk about what we're going to be doing in the coming weeks and months related to CCBN. So before I get into it, I first just want to acknowledge everybody here at PSTA. It really has been an all hands on deck effort. People from every department across the agency have really stepped up. And in the weeks leading up to the network change, and probably most importantly, the week of, we were at transit centers like Grand Central, high ridership stops. We were riding buses. We were every last possible place we could be. So we had lots of conversations with riders to ensure that as many folks that are our riders out there were prepared for the system changes. So big shout out to the PSTA team. Big shout out to you all who have been instrumental throughout this 2+ year process to get us to this point. And thank you to the riders for all of the conversations that we've had over the last few weeks and all of the input that we've received, both to our stellar customer service team, as well as to the ccbn@psta.net email address that myself and others on the planning team are keeping a record of all of the comments that we're getting and responding and having conversations with riders as needed. So with that, let's go ahead and get into it. Bob, next slide. So to start off on a positive note, wanted to comment on trends of positive comments that we've heard from riders in the first few weeks of launch. And these are things that were implemented by design, so it's good that the improvements that we have made, we have heard back from the riders that they are in fact improvements. So a great example is obviously a big part of this plan was adding more weekend service and shifting off service from peak periods on weekdays. So we've heard from riders on routes like the routes 73 that did not have Sunday service before, and we've heard from riders that they are now happy that they can enjoy that consistent 7-day-a-week service across our system on routes like that. We've also seen more consolidated downtown St. Pete transfers where buses are converging within a block or two vicinity of that 3rd Street Publix. I myself was there the first few days of launch, having a lot of conversations with riders, and I saw, as St. Pete, downtown St. Pete is the heartbeat of our city, our buses were pulsing right along with it by design. So we could see buses from different routes converge on 3rd and 4th Street and 1st Avenue South within a close window of one another. And it's great to see that that is by design so we can improve the transfer experience for riders and reduce travel times between routes. We also have later hours on some of our core routes, particularly on Saturdays. I've heard an anecdotal story from one of our union leads who talked to riders on the Route 19, and now they have later service on Saturdays. So for those on core routes, I know they're happy about some of the later hours. We also have increased frequency on select routes, particularly our new Spark service in South St. Pete. So we've heard good things about the increased frequency there. And we've also heard good response for the increase in weekend frequency, particularly on Sundays on routes like the Route 4 that have had a significant increase in weekend frequency. So these are just a few positive themes that we have heard in the first few weeks of implementation. Next slide, please. I also wanted to touch on a temporary feature that I believe I showed you all at a previous meeting. So this was our network preview and transit app. So this allowed riders to pre-plan their trips ahead of the launch of the Connected Community Bus Network on October 26th. So the feature was live for about a 10 or so day period in between the October 16th and 25th, and it definitely got a lot of utilization in that time period. There were over everybody that opened Transit app within that time period, over 11,000 unique users saw that banner at the top that informed them that there was a change coming and that the network preview feature was available. So if nothing else, everybody who opened the app immediately saw that there was a change coming. And of those 11,500, close to about a quarter of those users enabled the preview mode that allowed them to pre-plan their trips. And collectively, all of the Transit app users in Pinellas County planned over 100,000 future trips in the app to help prepare for the changes. So this is a really useful feature, not only for riders, but for staff like myself who were out there doing outreach with riders. This was a really great tool to show step by step what these changes meant for individual riders. So we were really happy that we were able to work with Transit app and be able to deploy this feature ahead of the launch. Next slide, please. So in addition to positive comments, we implemented a lot of changes, so we have some initial solutions. So some things we've heard from some riders are delayed buses on certain routes like the Route 52. We have heard of delays happening on the Bay Drive corridor. We've also heard about some destination sign errors, such as buses saying not in service at the downtown St. Pete public stop, which we've determined is due to a GPS issue. And since we did reallocate service to make our schedules consistent between different types of routes, we have heard some comments that there were some anecdotal early and late trips not available on select routes due to how service was readjusted. So I will note that those first two bullet points and some trips that we heard about are going to be immediately addressed. So we are doing a new database push that's going to go out on November 30th. So this is not going to be reflected on the paper schedules, but the biggest thing we're changing with this database push is fixing some critical issues, such as the on-time performance of the Route 52. Good news on that front is that all of the improvements are on the back end, so the rider-facing schedule will actually stay the same. We're just making operational improvements to reduce the incidence of delays on that route, as well as fixing destination sign error issues at downtown and adding some late trips back in where possible. In addition, through having lots of conversations with riders, there has been some initial confusion about the A and the B variants on the schedules. So we are working very closely with Amanda and her team at the communications department to improve the schedule so it's more apparent which trips are A and B variants. Thankfully, we have been able to get that level of detailed information into our transit app. So all of the variants very clearly say A or B. So the next step, and of course, we want to, as soon as possible, get that information more clearly on our schedules. So we'll keep you posted on that. In addition, we have heard anecdotally about old information on some bus stop signs. So we're working very closely with our facilities department, who I believe, as we speak, are out there updating all of our bus stop signs to ensure they have the most up-to-date information. And in the interim, like I said before, we have a really awesome customer service staff who's been trained on all of the changes with the CCBN. So both the customer service team and several folks, including myself on my team on the CCBN email, have been speaking with hundreds plus riders collectively, providing alternate trip times and route options where feasible, directing riders to mobility services if needed, whether it's late shift or access. And in addition, we're of course compiling all the feedback and the comments that we're getting to help inform the future service adjustments. So that's definitely what went into some of the improvements that we're going to be making in this database push on the 30th, was directly informed by rider feedback. So definitely, again, wanted to thank everybody out there who has sent in feedback, and that has been really important for us to compile that to help inform our service adjustments. And so with that, Bob, if you could proceed to the next slide, and I'm going to briefly touch on some high-level ridership information just from the first few weeks of launch. These two slides are just a sample of a larger presentation from planning and data analyst Devin Deal, who put a few slides together about initial ridership of the Connected Community Bus Network. Shown here on this slide are the top 5 ridership routes. This is ridership in between November 1st and November 15th. So some of these routes have stayed the same on the top 5, such as, the Sunrunner that's averaging over 2,300 rides a day. But our routes 4 and 18 are also strong performing ridership routes. And the ridership of these routes is fairly consistent with ridership we saw before the launch of the Connected Community Bus Network. The biggest change is that the top ridership route used to be the former 52 before it was split, since it was a very long route operating between Grand Central and Park Street. We have, of course, split that route into the 52 and the 49, but it's not entirely surprising to see that how that route was split, both of those routes have ended up on the top 5 ridership routes. So we're going to be continuing to monitor the ridership of both the top 5 routes and system-wide, and I would imagine in the future we're going to have a much more in-depth analysis and presentation on some of the ridership trends that we are seeing. Next slide, please. Also want to do a special shout out of the ridership of how the Spark is doing. It's in that same period as the last slide, the first 2 weeks of November. So far we've had over 11,000 rides on the Spark service, averaging about 840 trips a day on weekdays. We've also been able to analyze where the busiest locations are along the corridor. So no surprise that Grand Central takes the cake with total count of people getting on and off the bus at over 600 a day. So again, that makes sense. Lots of things around Grand Central, major transfer area. We would expect to see that. But some other high ridership stops include the stop pair at 18th Avenue South and Queensboro. So that makes sense because we have our route 49 going across on 18th Avenue South. So that's of course a pretty significant transfer area, since there's a lot of folks who need transit on 18th Avenue South who are likely connecting to the Spark service. Our 37th Street South stop on the south end, right before Eckerd College, another popular stop, likely because that is both a transfer area at the Bay Point Plaza, where folks can connect to local routes like the 4. And there's, of course, the shopping center down there, anchored by Publix and other retailers. And lastly, another notable stop is the stop pair at 11th Avenue South. So that, of course, likely ridership comes from folks needing to get to or from educational institutions adjacent to the station locations, being Pinellas Technical College and Gibbs High School. So that's just kind of at a high level what's going on with ridership on some parts of the CCBN. But like I said, we will certainly follow up with another update and have more information as it becomes available. And so with that, Bob, if you go to the next slide, I'm going to hand it off to Amanda Baird, who's going to be talking to you about things that are coming next with regards to wayfinding improvements. Amanda, take it away.
Thank you so much, Jacob. I am so happy to be back with you tonight, Track, to give you an update on our wayfinding improvements that we implemented as part of the Connected Community Bus Network, which in large part were made directly based on the last conversation I had with y'all. So I'm going to give you an update on what we've implemented so far and what you will see coming up shortly. So next slide, please. As you might recall from our last conversation, we implemented as the kind of heart of our wayfinding system across all of our maps and schedules and signage, this color and shape legend that is universal to all of our wayfinding. It's very common for transit systems to have different lines assigned to different colors. Think of Chicago's Elson, there's the red line, the blue line, so on and so forth. What we did was we took it a little bit further and we assigned colors based on frequency and type of route. So like our trolleys have a specific color, our premium services, our most frequent services all are categorized that way. And in addition to those colors, we introduced a shape system for our colorblind users to still be able to take advantage of that categorization with even if they cannot make out the specific colors. So pink circles, well, pink is always going to be a circle. Blue is always going to be a square, so on and so forth. Which on the next slide, you can see how that has been implemented. You will recall our last conversation was a working session focus group about these shelter information boards, which as part of the Connected Community Bus Network, we went out and implemented. And I want to again thank you for your direct input and vocal feedback on the information that was most useful to you as riders and to folks that you've been connecting with who might be hesitant to ride or not know how to ride. Because that's what made it onto these boards was the types of information y'all shared with me that like, hey, we really need information about fare payment. We really need information about transit app. So that information is directly on these boards, thanks to you guys. And on the next slide, I also wanted to show again how that shape system looks in black and white. Just not all of us are colorblind, but we do print things in black and white as well. And that shape system helps carry over into our printed schedules and maps that are printed in black and white. So on the next slide, I want to tell you a little bit about what's coming next and why. So we are in the process of redesigning our PSTA bus stop signs. And we are doing that for a few reasons. First and foremost, being the marketing person, I would be silly not to point out that it is so hard to see the PSTA logo on these signs. It is on there. It is on the front of that bus icon. It's about ½ an inch tall and almost impossible to make out. The website is very, very small. That text is about an inch tall, and these signs are mounted where the bottom edge is at 7 feet in the air. The back of that sign is plain metal text, plain aluminum with black text vertical. So if you are a pedestrian walking up to the sign from that side, it's kind of hard to make out, especially like in this photo I took outside of our PSTA admin office. When the sun is at a particular angle, it's almost impossible to read that sign if you're approaching it from behind. As y'all pointed out in our last conversation, the stop number is only posted on the stop signs at that mid-post height. And folks love, and it is a sticker, which is on that sign, and folks love to peel those off, scribble on them for whatever reason. I don't know why you would need a sticker that says 3574 on it, but people love to peel those stickers off. The route numbers on the upper sign are also stickers that tend to get kind of gunky around the edges, or they get vandalized as well, even at that 7 feet in the air. So I want to unveil to you, based on that conversation we had in May, an initial concept design. I'm going to say before Bob flips the slide, this is an initial concept. The artwork you're about to see is not final, which is why I am here, is to talk to you about it. And the stop you're about to see does not exist. in the county. So Bob, if you'll flip the, oh, I'm missing a slide. It's okay. I can just talk through it. So our bus stop signs are going to be on the left of the screen, you see the front, and then on the right of the screen, you'll see what'll be on the back. Obviously, stop 1111, serving the 4, the 78, the 300, and the Suncoast Beach Trolley. There is no universe in which this particular stop exists. We designed this as our mock-up because we wanted to show samples of what each of those different types of route labels and shapes would look like, and make sure that the characters all meet the minimum height requirements. When I tell y'all that there are about 400 pages of sign requirements out there for bus stop signs, I wish I was exaggerating and I wish I hadn't read them all, but I have. So we've made sure that all of our font sizes, our logo sizes, our color contrast, all of the required information is on there, and it is the right size for the display height we are required to post these signs at. The other cool thing about these signs is that stop number on the front and the text number on the back are what's called variable text. So these signs are going to, instead of being those stickers that are applied kind of in the field and easy to peel off or vandalize, these signs are going to be printed in a single sheet, and we will provide our sign printer, hey, stop 1111 is going to serve these 4 routes. They'll send us a digital proof to review to make sure that we've got it correct and everything looks right. And then they will run those signs individually. So each of these signs is going to be one sheet of metal with the reflective coating on it in one sheet. There's no individual stickers that get stuck on and peeled off anymore. So with that, Jacob and I are happy to open the floor for conversations about CCBN, about signage, about all of the things that we've just implemented and are going to implement.
Great, thank you both of you. And if any of the committee members have questions, go ahead and raise your hand and I will, I can call on you. Before I do that, I wanted to ask a couple quick things. Jacob, what is the what is the ridership on the Snapper service? Because that did change some areas where all of a sudden people are needing to do it on demand. Do you have the numbers on?
I believe that's in another presentation. If you give me a minute, I can see what is on that other PowerPoint and get back to you.
Because I'm seeing those buses around, but I'm not seeing how many people are using. And then the other question I had too is there anything being done to make sure that on those A and B variants, 78 up by me is still very confusing on what it is. Not all of them have 78A or 78B on the legend on the bus itself. And also it's not, I think people by and large tend to know that, like, okay, we're going to go on, they both say the same thing. They both say 580. And one of them goes up McMullen Booth to Boot Ranch, even if it said something like about Boot Ranch at that point, that it might be more helpful for people to differentiate it. So I can't answer for what the right answer is, but right now they are very confusing and I'm not that easily confused.
Okay, we can take a look at the destination signage for the 78 and see where we can make improvements.
Okay, thank you. All right, let me, I think I saw Jay's hand go up right away. So Jay, do you have a question?
Yeah, so like I've been running into people having issues, particularly with the new 49. I think it's the 49, how it now goes down 18th Avenue South, correct? And like a lot of people are still not used to having to connect to get the Center Plaza now. And like I've seen this conversation on Facebook quite a few times. And even like there's a bus driver faces who I know who like had to try to help somebody try to figure out how to get to where they needed to go. This was in their personal capacity, not when they were on the clock or whatever. Um, and it's just it is an issue. I think something clearly needs to be written or said somewhere where people know now if they're on trying to write the 49, to go and connect at the Spark or something to get to Central Plaza. Like I think it needs to be like clear cut that this is where you connect. And then also the A and B for the 9 in the South Side. It's also been had a few complaints about that, confusions related to that. So those are things I've ran into personally with people talking to me about.
No, I get that. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. Oh, sorry, were you about to, somebody else about to?
Oh well, yeah, I appreciate. Also, I just for what I've directly experienced is the buses being late quite often. Um, what's the bus that I'm on? I think I'm on the 54. And like I literally ran out my house. I thought, oh wait, I'm about to miss the bus because the thing said the bus would be there in like 3 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever. I get to the bus stop. I'm there in enough time, and then nothing updates saying the bus is coming. And 20 minutes later, the bus is not here. And then I finally have to call PSTA, the customer service line, and they figured out what was going on. And the customer service person is telling me how there was a lot of issues with the buses being late, but like it also wasn't updating like that the bus is late on the what's the app called? Transit app.
Yeah.
So that's something I ran into.
Gotcha. So I know our team is definitely looking at the on-time performance of all of our routes, so we can have them take a look at a 54 to see if that was just like a thing that happened a couple times, or if this is a recurring issue. Certainly want to take a look at that. Your point as well noted about the 49. I can kind of go back to the team to figure out if there's like additional collateral or anything else we can follow up with to help provide more information on where riders can make connections. I know at least outreach that myself and others on the team have done for those riders. We've obviously encouraged them to either transfer to Spark, transfer downtown, transfer along the Sunrunner corridor, but I'm sure we could follow up with something like a pamphlet or something like that. We can talk with the team about that. And then definitely your point is noted about the Route 9, and that's definitely one of the schedules we're targeting to help improve the legibility of the variants.
Thank you. Okay, we have 3 other hands up. I think I saw Maxwell Johnson was the next hand that I saw up.
Yes. I also have something to say about the 49. More of a comment than a question. I find it odd that the 49 gets so close to the lay-by, but doesn't go to the lay-by. There is a few businesses along that route that I like to go to. I'd rather not have to go all the way to the Largo Transit Center and take 3 buses when I could just take 2 buses. So if it's the 49 stopped at the lay-by, that would be more useful to me, and I'm sure a lot of other folks.
Thank you for your comment. We'll definitely note that. I do know, at least for transfers in that area, like you said, I think we have shifted the transfer location to Largo Transit Center, but no, your comment is definitely noted.
Thank you. Okay, next, Mark Boyce.
Thanks. I can sense that there's a certain degree of tension over handling the heat from the change. So this isn't meant to be critical to anybody. I appreciate all the work that they've done. I might have been a little skeptical of hiring consultants or whatever, but nevertheless, but for everybody that works for us, I'm totally for you. So don't feel if it's negative. This just what happened to me 3 or 4 days ago. I had to take the 62 up to Clearwater, and I take it with my bike, and then I ride over to a company that I buy some vehicles to with my bike. Anyhow, I don't know. I wasn't wearing a PSTA shirt or anything. I don't do that, but for some reason I look like the guy that had all the answers. So I got on the 62 heading north, and a gentleman sitting in the back of the bus started yelling up to me for some reason. Do I know what's the latest he can go back home on this from Boot Ranch? And so I'm a typical uninformed rider in this case. So I wasn't sure, so I just yelled up to the driver because I was closer, and she didn't know because she only drives earlier, I should say. So I don't usually use the transit app. I was just fooling with it a little bit while someone else was talking. I think it'll be a wonderful tool once I get up to speed with it. I've been using Google, so I just wanted to tell you what happened to me trying to answer this guy's question, just so you could know, kind of, I guess it's problems with what people are dealing with. I'm not the only one that's not up to speed with the transit app. So anyhow, so I start looking it up on Google, and Google was telling you that the latest of the 62, I wasn't looking on PSTA, website even, but it's a much earlier cutoff, and the 62 ends in Clearwater now at the Countryside Mall, I guess. So I didn't know how to answer this guy. So Google's telling me to tell him to take, I forget the number, maybe it was a 78, all the way to downtown Clearwater down. And then, anyhow, I was going to take him 2.5 hours or something to get back down. I asked him where he was going. Now, this wasn't if you think I sound dumb, no, I shouldn't say that. I will just say I had a little bit more capacity to figure things out than he did. And I mean that in a kind way. So I try to help someone like that, not be mean to them. So, I found out that Google is no longer up to speed, and how I eventually got the answer, I'm not sure. I can't recall, but just punching around, trying to go to the site and look at where does the 62 go now, when does it cut off, and it's not much earlier. From Boot Ranch, I found out you could take the 78, and it was 2 hours later rather than 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I think it was like 6 something. And I just made sure that he understood that he had to get on this last 78 in Boot Ranch to make it over to Countryside to switch now, rather than take one. This was like a dream bus, the 62 in the old days. Now it's like the other gentleman saying, with all these, it's just one change, but the changes are a pain, and especially if it's not at a transit center, so you might have to wait, without a bench or whatever. But I finally got him the answer. Get on this bus. It's the latest one. If you miss it, I don't know what to tell you. And then it would get him back to Countryside, and then he could get on the 62, the last one, which left at 6 p.m. and then headed south. I never really did grasp where he was going, specifically down in St. Pete. But what I found out from it was that Google no longer, it's not current with the changes, is my point. And I don't know, I've heard you all try to contact Google to fix other things. I just want you to know it is in no way, and I don't know why it was routing him to go down to downtown Clearwater rather than just Countryside Mall, but that's what happened. And I wasn't up to speed with the transit app. I was just trying to punch in the Publix at Boot Ranch or whatever to try to see what it would have said, and I couldn't get it to work. So there are some difficulties with the technology for someone like me. Now I can figure it out. I would just keep on digging, and I'd eventually get a correct answer somewhere. The other thing is, when you punch in to Google for, say, route, a PSTA route, just pick one, 66. You have to make sure that you're not going to some older site. I guess the PSTA website would have up to date, let's call them the PDF files that show you the schedules. But in my process of trying to help this gentleman, I got to old 62, and so I had the wrong information. So then that made me, waste more time. And I think I helped him to know what he needed to do. And And I was thinking this driver should have known, you know, when I went up to get off the bus, I just asked her name and she was a super nice lady. So no heat on her. You know, the changes, she doesn't drive it late and everything, but these are just some of the things. You had someone who has way less capacity than I do. I'm maybe below par. And then a driver who, you know, they don't have to know everything about every route, you know, but it was rather complex. And I think, to summarize all that, should I have directed him? I don't know if he had the capacity, even a phone that would do this, to be honest, but should I have directed him to the transit app? Is that the only place where you can get accurate information now?
Can I
Or,
ask, when you say Google, do you mean Google Maps or like
yes,
just like typing into Google?
Google
Okay.
Maps. Oh, I should have, yeah, clarified. Yes,
Um,
I live by Google Maps. I travel all over the southeast part of the country with it, and
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
it works really well in the area that you're from, where you use it a lot. You go to a new area, it's much slower, and you know they give you some errant information, but it's normally great. I just wanted you to know that the information to give him an accurate answer was not
Yeah,
I guess you'd say updated on Google Maps yet.
absolutely. And we know that there was an initial issue with Google Maps. I think I'm frozen. My whole computer froze. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
We know there was an initial issue with Google Maps that I believe has since been resolved to the best of our testing ability. That issue has been resolved. And then there will be another Google push of a new, like Jacob said, a new transit database is going to get pushed out to Google at the end of this month. I will also share with you in terms of answering your question about where to get the best possible information. Transit app is always a great source. Google Maps should be a great source. I'm also pleased to announce that next month we will have a brand new redesigned PSTA.net. That is launching next month. It will include all of the real-time information and schedules and trip planner capabilities that are in Transit app. The new site is built on the Transit app engine. So folks won't necessarily have to download the app to get access to that Transit app tool. They can get it directly on psta.net starting next month.
One more question on that. One of the other pieces is that can't people just call in to PSTA and get the customer service person? Can they
Yes.
give them,
Yes.
because a lot of the people, what I think Mark was talking about, and I encounter that too. A lot of times the drivers don't know, they switch routes sometimes as well. But I will hear other riders asking, can I do this or what? If I know, I tell them, but if I don't, I say, you can also call into PSTA and someone can talk you through it.
Absolutely.
What is the best advice that we should give other riders when we encounter these things?
I would say if they have a smartphone and they know their way around it, our website. And if they just have a regular cell phone, definitely calling customer service.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you. Now, I remember Conrad had his hand up and I don't see Conrad is he still there?
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Okay. You had your hand up before, so you're the one person we hadn't called on yet.
Yeah. When I'm at the bus stops where there used to be the maps at the bus stops in the shelter where there used to be maps and the physical bus route, there also used to be timetables. And now there are no timetables, just the routes.
Yes.
We can't hear you, Conrad. No, it's fine. Or I can't hear you.
No, yeah, his voice.
Conrad, we lost your audio.
Yeah, we lost your audio, Conrad. But his question, Amanda, is that true that because I know, wasn't that part of the whole revision?
Yes, that was part of our last discussion. We talked about, we removed those timetables from the information board, the specific trip by trip timetables. And included just the frequency chart by time of day. So on those route maps, you'll see the little chart that says from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. it's going to run every 30 minutes, and then from 9 a.m. to whatever time it's going to run every 15 minutes. So those charts are there, and intended to take the place of those timetables. We went that direction, after talking about it with y'all, to just to reduce the cost of replacing those timetables 3 times a year. That costs PSTA tens of thousands of dollars. So rather than, we would only have to
Okay.
replace those charts.
Okay,
if-
I don't want to cut you off or anything, but okay. Okay, if that's tens of thousands of dollars, maybe that's okay. Can I make a suggestion then? The next time that you do those things without the timetables, because I must be stupid because I didn't see.
Oh, we lost him again. Yeah.
I see him talking.
Yeah, Conrad, can you hear us?
We can't hear you, Conrad.
Yeah, I don't think he can hear us either. His audio seems to.
What? Did you?
We lost
Did
your
you hear what I
audio. We
said?
couldn't hear you. No.
We keep losing
Okay.
your audio, Conrad.
Okay. Then okay. Then I must be stupid or something because I didn't see those that whatever that thing you said. So I'd like to make a suggestion that that when you redo them, that you put them in like bigger, bolder red letters or something that will jump out on you, because I'm so used to the timetables. I mean, and so if there's something there that says this bus runs Monday through Sunday from 6 a.m. to 5 a.m. Every 15 minutes, then okay. But it's to me, it's just not apparent. And I am used to the old timetables. So can you put something in big letters or something to make it jump out on you so that you can actually see that without, does that make sense?
Yeah, we can certainly make that bigger on the next, design
And,
round.
and in a different color maybe or something?
Yeah, they are color coded by that, that system, that frequency color chart we're using across the system. So there should be, it almost looks like a little bar graph on the
Okay.
map that's
And
a bunch of different colors.
And I'm getting ready to lose for some reason, I can't charge my phone right now. So I want to bring up 2 things and just in case I die. I would like to see PSTA move forward now to make announcements on the buses and to put signage for veterans that starting, I think y'all said December the 1st, we can restart our renewals of our things so that we don't get in a
Bind right in January.
yeah, so our veterans, when they're on riding the bus, they'll hear, and if you're a veteran and you have a yearly pass, please remember to renew your pass starting December 1st so that you're, or something, what I
We
mean.
can do that.
And
Yeah, it's a good idea.
yeah,
That's a great idea.
I think we need to start getting it out now, and possibly even some signage on some of the buses. And the other thing is, can you reinforce the deadhead rule? Because I'm still running into bus drivers that say that's a crock, that doesn't exist. No, you're not getting on the bus, and you got to get off the bus. And I mean, it's just like craziness.
Yes, I'll definitely reinforce that. Right.
Thank
And
you.
I just
Yeah, you
want
should
to
be able-
chime in for Ross and mobility. The passes for veterans are not based on the calendar year. It's whenever they got their pass, it'll be a year from that date.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, okay, well, wait a minute then.
I didn't think that was true, but okay.
Can we,
I asked Ross about it. That was his answer.
No.
okay, well, can we then change that so that we're all doing it at the same time so that there's not in other words, if a person moves here in July and they're a veteran, they'll get a pass from July to December. Because I just think that it's a real hassle for everybody to understand. And I think it's easier for everybody to understand. Listen, my pass runs out in December. I got to get a new one in January. I think it makes it more sense. And I think it makes it easier on PSTA because then they don't have to worry about, well, you know, my pass ran out, you know, I forgot to do it. There's no questioning for the drivers. The drivers don't have to worry about when their pass runs out. It's December the 31st, January 1st. No, you get a new pass. You know, it's just, to me, that makes more sense. And that is what I was told a couple months ago.
Yeah, I thought that's how it was
when
as
we were
well.
talking. I was talking to somebody in the track.
That was my understanding as well, was that it was mapped to the
Excuse me?
calendar year. We'll confirm with customer service whether it's to the calendar year or 365 days from issue. And if it's to the calendar year, we will do a renewal awareness campaign.
Thank you.
Okay, I see Mark has his hand up again. Mark?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for your service, Conrad.
Thank you. Okay, are there any other questions or comments for Amanda and Jacob at this point? Okay, well, thank you to both of you for the presentation, for answering all our questions, and I know I have a couple other things that I should just send either of you emails too with my comments or thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well,
I have the answer to your previous question that you asked about Snapper ridership.
oh, yes.
Yes, so don't want you to think I forgot about you. So in that same time period, the first 2 weeks of November, there were 97 rides on Snapper Clearwater and 21 rides on Snapper Safety Harbor.
Good. So
Yeah.
we're getting some, you know, and hopefully it's going to keep picking up. So
I think so. Yeah, based on the initial, I think data that Bonnie and her team have collected, I think, you know, like with any new service, I think it takes time, you know, people to learn about it and increase usage of it. So I believe the usage has increased over time, just in the limited span. But I know we're going to continue to monitor that, and we can follow up with updated numbers.
Okay. Well, and again, Amanda, you know, to the extent that we can have signage in places like Countryside Mall where it
Right.
comes to, that says, you know, if you need to go to Safety Harbor, or if you need to go to, you know, some sections of Clearwater where there's not fixed service, contact Snapper and you know, so. Okay, well, good. Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate your help.
Yeah, your input is very important, obviously, to all of us. And we're collecting all this and, you know, trying to make changes and fixes as we know about them. So it's very helpful. Everyone has chimed in. It's great.
Okay. By the way, Mr. Miller, you were not on earlier. Did you have any comments to our committee?
No. Sorry, I had a phone call, but like I said, I'm really grateful for everybody's comments about the bus network. Oh, I do have one comment. This is a very special track meeting. This will be Bob Lasher's last track meeting. So we're wishing Bob happy retirement, and thank you for being a great leader of track, especially these Zoom calls.
I completely agree.
I did what?
Hello, Bob. Hey, are you still going to be at PSTA? Its last track meeting, or
I'm retiring.
He's off into the sunset.
And when is your retirement?
About mid-January.
Mid-January. Okay, so we still can write you email.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, oh, good. No,
Yeah.
thank you for pointing that out. We should have probably done something special for you today.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
No, well, you've been a wonderful leader for us, and we look forward to hearing how it's going to be handled going forward. So, thank you. Okay, all right. Well, is there any other business that any of the committee members have that they wanted to address? Ah, I see 2 hands. I see. Let me go to Jay first.
I'm sorry, if it's loud, I am out of town at work in the office. So I will test it in the chat, in the chat. Can someone read it from there for me? Sorry.
Oops.
Gonna put it in the chat. Mark has his hand up.
Yeah, Mark, go ahead.
I had 2 quick questions. I've noticed from this list that I got from Bob that most of the folks have already taken their rides with the folk, I assume these are the people, I don't know specifically, but all these people on the list are people that are on the board, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and actually most of them, most
Okay,
of the
great.
board members have not taken their rides.
No, most have not. That's right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just looking, I just scanned through it and I didn't know that was an accurate statement. And since we're on the subject, the specific purpose I'm going to be taking, maybe if they don't want to go, then I'm not going with anybody, and that might be good for them. Who knows? But what am I supposed to be trying to accomplish for? Certainly, I can't teach them anything about PSTA if they're on the board and I'm just a track member, But what am I supposed to be trying to communicate to them for us? Or I know to not be a gripe session because I listen carefully to Bob's instructions, and I appreciate him. By the way, Bob, I would like to be the first one to say I think you should hang around and not retire. If I could be the first one to vote for that, because you're just like the rock of this whole team.
I second that.
Thank you. My wife is trumping all of you. Says I have to retire.
Well, we respect her. She deserves you, but we just wanted you to know I'm very sad to hear that you're going, and I hope you're blessed and everything is wonderful, and we certainly honor your wife.
Thank you.
And Mark, to your question,
Yes.
Bob can certainly address it as well, but I know when we first talked about this, and I feel pretty strongly, I've in the past had opportunities to talk with board members, and I always started out by saying, what do you want to know from the riders? And then also I ask them about what are their perspectives on transit? Do they, what do they think would make transit better, or how would be the system better for us? And then also give them our thoughts as riders, so that we get to know one another, so we get to at least know some board members personally, and they know some riders personally, and they see what it means to us.
Thank you.
Bob, did you have any thoughts to add to
That was
that?
perfect. Thank you.
It's about a conversation more than anything, Mark. Is that once they meet a real person, then they know that they're making decisions for these kinds of real people. It's not just a hypothetical. We are transit riders, and we count on our transit system. Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you. And I saw on, that there was the comment was made by Jay.
Yeah, she was asking about the fare required sign, and we've taken those off. I thought we had taken them off, but we'll confirm. But they're all, yeah.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can we put on the weapons thing on the next agenda?
What did you want to have? Because I think some of that is required by law, isn't it?
Well,
yeah.
They're not doing it in Hillsborough County, so I don't know why, I don't see how I can. Hillsborough and Pinellas are same state, so it's my understanding that we do not let our drivers carry guns. So if we can prohibit our drivers from carrying guns, I don't see why we can't prohibit the people getting on the buses.
Well, we confirmed, confirmed, I think just about a week ago that yes, over in Tampa and in Hillsborough County, they are also following the same rules we are.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, well, I think we've addressed every hand that was up. So, I guess, then we will be ending our meeting, but I wanted to wish everybody a great holiday season coming up. Happy Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of the things, whatever anyone celebrates until we are all back together in January.
See you next year.
Is January in person or video?
In person, it's in person, and you'll be electing officers. So think about if you want to either continue in the office or nominate someone else or run. That'll be done in the January meeting. Also, Elizabeth will no longer be part of doing the CAC. So if anyone would like to volunteer to be our representative on the Citizens Advisory Council for Forward Pinellas, let us know. And there is a virtual option, so you don't have to haul yourself there third Thursday of every month from 6 to 8 p.m.
Thank you. Yeah, I missed that on the script. Thank you very much, Bob, for covering that. Yeah. So January 20th, we will be back and
Motion to adjourn.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Second.
What is the big?
I see y'all later. Y'all have a good one.
Holiday.
Bye.
Have a great holiday, everybody.
Take
Hey,
care.
Happy
Greg, you're
Thanksgiving. See you next year.
Bon
Thank
voyage, Bob.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.